Hi, John. I'm super excited to have you on my show, The Ordinary. And the platform actually looks for people who have done extraordinary things in their ordinary lives, which is your life is absolutely not ordinary at all. So thank you so much for giving me your time.
I'm glad to be.
John, tell me about your journey, in Olympics. And tell me, how did it start? And tell me, listen, you're a storyteller, so tell me the story of your athletic journey.
Well, I was a kid growing up in Detroit, Michigan, and the lakes would freeze over every winter. And my dad put me on skates and put me on a bike. And it turns out I had a natural affinity for that. So at one point, he decided to put me into competition for both sports. Fast forward, many years later, and I'm on the U.S. national teams for both sports. And I was still trying to get a college degree at the time. So I'm at Stanford trying to be an Olympic cyclist and speed skater. And I managed to get 12th place in the world in the sport of speed skating my senior year. So
Wow.
I thought things would go well from there, having support. So I graduated and I joined the Olympic team. And they put me in a program of fixing my weaknesses for the next 2 years, which did not work. So I went from 12th to 34th to not even making the team 2 years later, finishing 30th in the U.S. trials I had won 2 years prior. So at this point, I decided to quit the team, not the sport, and start training on my own. And I doubled down on all the things I'm good at. So I doubled down on my strengths. I didn't know if it was going to work, but I showed up 1 year to the day later after missing the Olympic team, and in the same exact structured meet competition, I ended up breaking every single U.S. record and went on to set 2 world records that year, all by doubling down on what I do well rather than fixing my weaknesses.
And that is one of your training program, which is basically then my another question, which I'm going to talk much more in detail. So what are the valuable lessons you learned at your Olympic team?
I think the biggest one, and this is carried forward from there, is you don't succeed by fixing your weaknesses. If you're over 25 and you're still trying to fix your weaknesses, that ship has sailed.
So you're telling me I don't need to fix my weaknesses?
You do not. You don't have to fix any of them.
That's news to me.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
And why do you say that?
Because they're never going to make you who you are. You are the sum of both your strengths and weaknesses. And if you're in an environment where your weaknesses are constantly called out and your strengths are ignored, you're in the wrong place. Simple as that.
Seriously.
If you can find a place where your strengths are valued and nobody cares about your weaknesses, that's the place you want to be. If you're a creative, disorganized person, be in a place where that's valued. If you're a detail-oriented perfectionist, be in a place where that's valued. If you're calm and unemotional, be in a place that's valued. If you're direct and honest and blunt and rude, be in a place that's valued.
And I saw one of your trainings, which you actually would talk about somebody who's actually careless, but at the same time very strategic, and that was a surprise for me.
A lot of big picture thinkers are bad with details. They can see the bigger woods in the forest. They cannot see the individual trees, and that's fine. Don't expect them to be the detail-oriented perfectionists. Have them paint you the picture and you fill in the rest.
So be valuable where your strengths are being valued.
100%. And if you're not being valued, you have to quit.
And if you're not being valued, you have to quit.
You have to quit. You don't have to quit today.
Absolutely.
The only time you ever have to work on your weaknesses, in my opinion, is to hold the fort down until you find the right place. So fine, mollify your boss, get through the day, get through the week, get through the month, but looking for that next thing where your strengths are valued, where people care about what you do well and don't care at all that you're not good at X, Y, and Z.
That is news to me, and that's a very valuable insight.
And it works too.
So John, can you shed some light on your time theory? I probably attended the whole lecture and loved it. So yes, for my audience, what can you shed some light on it?
The deepest insight from the work I've been doing for 15 years comes from an observation that 98% of adults feel, which is that time speeds up the older you get. And summers that used to last forever when we were kids don't feel that way anymore. And it's subjective, of course. So the deeper insight is that time is necessarily subjective. Our brain constructs time.
Yes.
Our feeling about time is a subjective measure that actually correlates nearly perfectly to memory creation, storage, and recall. So this is a new insight. Like, you won't hear this anywhere else. Memories are the currency of time. More memories stored and recalled means you live longer. So let's skip longevity for a minute and let's talk about the sense of time we feel. I have figured out how to slow, stop, and reverse the perceived acceleration of time most adults feel and experience the endless summers of youth again, or more. I'm 20 years into 2026. That's no joke. That's the way it feels, because I have designed my life in a way to manipulate my brain to writing, storing, recalling more memories. And this is not a complicated thing when it comes down to it, just nobody's doing it. And it's the opposite of what we're wired to do. So this is the thing. We are wired, particularly as adults, to create a safe, comfortable routine so that our offspring can emerge and procreate. This is what we're hardwired to do. However, as human beings, we're not mammals. We are, but we're also more than that.
Exactly.
We want to live a full and rich life.
Yes.
And safe, comfortable routine is the opposite of a full life. So we have to rewire ourselves. Our hardwiring is to do that, and what we need to do is return to our 8-year-old selves in some ways. We need a life that's full of excitement, that's full of energy, that's full of enthusiasm, that's full of risk. I like that one. Uncertainty, emotional intensity, physical intensity, beauty, hopefully. Trauma also works. And
trauma also works.
I mean, we'll always remember traumatic events. We'll always remember beautiful, intense events. That's the way our brains are wired. Our brains are wired to remember 2 things very specifically. Don't do that. Don't die. Always do that. Please procreate. So don't die in the car crash. You're going to remember that slow motion sequence for the rest of your life. And please procreate. You're asking him or her out for the first time. You are terrified. You're always going to remember both of these types of things.
Right.
The brain is hardwired to keep you alive and keep you procreating and everything adjacent, right? So anything scary and intense and risky over here is going to be remembered, and everything that's exciting and romantic or loving or relationship-oriented, family, anything over here is also going to be remembered. All the middle stuff is lost.
So that's how you actually can expand time, and that's how you can live in the uniqueness of it.
100%. And there's 6 key drivers. I talked about them, but risk and uncertainty, unfortunately. Yes. It wakes up the amygdala, tells it to write memories much faster. Uniqueness, similar but different. You can have a risky day every day if you have a scary job. So it's different. Emotional intensity, being fully present in the moment, emotionally galvanized. You're going to write dopamine and serotonin, which cements memories. Physical intensity, which also helps, and it also releases other endorphins. And then beauty, trauma also works, but let's go with beauty. And then the flow state, which combines it all and multiplies by 5x. So when you write, store, and recall memories in a amygdala heightened, exciting, emotionally intense situation, and you're in the flow state, you store 300 times more memories than when you don't. That's living 300 times longer. And you can do that if you design your life the right way.
So basically you can expand your one day, 24 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours actually in 30 hours.
I'll say it differently. I think that in life, we are flitting from moment to moment, and moments define us, not the minutes, months, or years.
Okay, the moments define us.
The moments define us. So yeah, you work for 6 months to do something, and then you have the thing. So maybe it's presenting at a TEDx, or maybe it's giving a concert, or maybe it's finally having the conversation with your boss, or maybe it's finally getting promoted, like work, and then the moment.
Okay, then the success moment.
And so the Greeks figured this out ages ago. They have 2 words for time, kairos and chronos. We pretend chronos is it, clock time. Clock time doesn't mean anything. Time speeds up, it slows down, it stops, none of that matters. Kairos time is when everything happens at once and the trajectory is reset. You prepare for the conversation with your boss about your promotion for weeks on end, and then it happens. And then it either changes or it doesn't. You prepare for that competition for years, decades maybe, and then it's a gold medal or it's not. Everything changes in the moment. And when you can design more moments that change more trajectories, you just simply live longer and you have much more impact.
Wow. So I understand that means an ordinary person can actually live longer through moments.
100%.
Can you tell me like a story of?
I'll give you a couple. So time and money are fungible.
Mm-hmm.
And so you should trade, you've been trading your time for money for decades, all of us,
yeah.
Right? But there comes a point when you're successful financially, you need to get good at investing your money back for time. And nobody's good at this because they don't know how to do it. I will tell you right now, you know this, you heard me say it, but you can't expect high returns from low-risk short-term investments in money,
Absolutely.
you also can't expect the same from low-risk short-term time investments. But a lot of financially successful people try to do that. They create a moat around themselves. They create everything is safe and comfortable. And they're like, where did the time go? What happened to that last decade? Like, that doesn't work. So what we need to do instead is we need to invest our time, just like our money, in a portfolio of time investments. Some are short-term and low risk. Sure, that's your safety nest. Some are longer term and a little bit higher risk, but you get some returns from that. Like stocks, maybe you
Crypto.
invest your time for your job or your entrepreneurial venture or the new startup, and that's longer term and higher risk. And then you want to create occasionally the unicorn moment, right?
Yeah, unicorn moment.
You want this Kairos moment where everything happens at once. And so here's a couple of examples. You can buy them or you can get them for free. I had a client who's the head of an airport in Australia. He's from London. He heard my talk a few years ago, and he's like, I'm going to do something. I don't know what it is. And so he comes back to me. He's like, my son was turning 12, and he's a huge fan of a London soccer club, football club. And so but we've been watching it since he's 5. He wears the jerseys, but he's never even been to London. He worked from Australia, but I'm from London. So on his 12th birthday, I put him on a plane, didn't tell him where we were going. He says, Dad, where we're going? You'll find out when we get there. He gets on the plane, it says where we're going. So he's like, why are we going to London? You'll see. So they get to London. They get in the Uber. It's like, where are we going? You'll see. They get to the soccer stadium, the football stadium. And so it's like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. This is not the story. Dad and Uber go around the back. Everybody else is filing into the stadium. They go around the back door opens. The entire team files up, lines up, holding a jersey for his son, who goes back in with the team, puts the jersey on, warms up with them on the field, sits with him the entire game. After the game, they all sign his jersey, slap him high five, and send him back up at the back door because his dad paid for him to be the mascot. He paid for that, as well he should.
Wow, so that's their experience, which probably expanded his entire life.
Dad can't tell the story without crying.
Of course, yes.
All right, here's a free one. My business partner, Monica, a couple of years ago, her sons were 11 and 13. September 6th, I believe it was, there was a meteor shower. She woke each one of them up separately in the middle of the night, said, no talking, put a blanket around their shoulders, walk up to the top of the hill, laid the blanket out, watch these meteors streaking through a darkened, no moon sky, absolutely perfect environment. 5-10 minutes, walked back, took the blanket off, put it on her second son, same thing. Completely free, absolutely memorable. Never will forget it. You can buy them, you can design them, you can make them, and you should.
That is beautifully said. Thank you for that. I mean, what advice would you leave for the younger people or for your younger self? And what legacy are you going to leave behind?
Great question. I think the legacy I'm going to leave behind is the précis of my book. It's one sentence, which is quite complex when you unpack it. I'll say it and then I'll explain it and I'll say it again. That the value of an increment of time is not related to its duration. So the value of an increment of time is not related to its duration. You can create in your life moments that have more meaning and value than the weeks, months, and years leading up to them.
Beautiful.
It might be a conversation that needs to be had. It might be a situation you design. It can be anything. I'll give you 2 metaphoricals. This is a fun one. I like to do this all the time with my girlfriend. We're going to go somewhere new that's beautiful. To get her out of the car or into the hotel, I cover her eyes to go to the vista. This is the most basic thing you could do in the world. But you don't have this slow transition to the view of the Grand Canyon. You go from, I see nothing to, oh my God.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's a moment. You just created a moment for absolute free that takes no energy.
Imprint in her mind, it will stay there forever.
100%.
She's created that moment.
Right. And then you can take it to the opposite extreme as you orchestrate over weeks or months. How are you going to design a moment to happen? So I'll tell you a quick story, if I may. 7th date. 7th date's important. Are we boyfriend, girlfriend, or are we not boyfriend, girlfriend, right? Like, this is the cusp. Somewhere around that period, you've got to, you're in, you're out, right? And so I wanted to do something really special for her. And we live in Vegas, or we still do. And she'd never actually been to a show. And I was like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I'm like, oh my goodness, I know the wife of Penn Jillette of Penn and Teller, which is a major comedy act in Vegas, been there for 35 years. I know Emily. I'm going to buy tickets to Penn and Teller, front row. And then I call Emily. Actually, I texted her. I said, Emily, I'm not looking for a handout here. I'm taking Mariana, the woman I love, to Penn and Teller's show on Friday. I have front row tickets. I already paid them. I'm not asking for a handout. If there's any way that you can help me look cool, I would be so grateful.
Wow. Okay.
That's all I left. Like, I had no idea it could happen.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm on it. So it's Friday. We're at dinner across the street from the Rio. And she's like, okay, get to the show right at 8 o'clock when the doors open. Show doesn't start till 9. Get there at 8. Have your phone on. Still don't know what's going to happen. So we sit in the front row. We're the only ones there. Right as we sit down, my phone pings. It's a video message from Penn. Mariana, I understand you're coming to my show tonight. There's going to be 3,000 people here. Pretty much everybody thinks the show's kind of for them. But I'm telling you tonight, the show is for one person and one person only. It's for you, Mariana.
Wow.
Then he walks over, greets her, and then we're an hour into the show, and he pulls her up on stage for his final act.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, you can make these...
ecstatic.
She was quiet.
Quiet.
So, to conclude the story, she didn't say almost anything on the way home. And we lived right above each other. And she just went home. And I was like, I don't know if this
Did I do right? Did I do wrong?
The next day, she texted me, I'm on my lunch break. She'd never come up during her lunch break. She worked from home. She came up, was like, I just want to say hi to you. Can I come up? So she came up and she leaned through the door and said, I love you.
That created a very impactful memory in her mind.
First time.
And her heart as well, when then that's connected together.
So you can you can design these things. It takes more.
Design this thing, or you can use BBs all around.
All around you all the time.
So what advice would you give your younger self?
I would say to my younger self that whenever things are getting really sketchy and uncertain, that every single time the next thing to happen is going to be the best thing.
There's every fall, there is the
return. You don't get the rise if you don't have the fall.
So the fall has to hit the floor to come back.
100%.
The lowest it hits, the higher.
Yeah, and we always believe, like I've believed multiple times in my life, like you're a failure, you've lost, you didn't win a gold medal, like you're a loser, like. And then that now, as you've heard, is like my greatest story is the fact I didn't win a gold medal. I don't get to tell that story if I have a gold medal.
You don't get to tell the story. That's actually true.
Right?
Yes. And
that story has defined my career. The fact that I don't have a gold medal is the reason I get to be a public speaker today. Otherwise, I'd just be another winner.
Beautifully said, actually. Yes, very beautifully said. Very deep thought.
Oh, thanks.
So you have to say it again for the final. So the advice you're going to give it to your younger self.
Every time you are at the bottom and you think that you've hit bottom, that just means you're about to rebound to an even higher place.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave you with this thought and leave with this quote. This is probably going to be one of the most, so many other quotes you have. This is another beautiful quote of yours. Thank you so much for your time, John. I loved having you from my show, and I enjoyed our conversation. And I'll see you more. And good luck to you, all your new and future endeavors. And I don't know what trajectory you're going to make more.
I don't either. But it's a pleasure hanging out with you, Maher. And
I'm sure
we'll stay in touch over time.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.